On this episode of the Chiro Candy podcast, we're going to be looking at the AI-powered chiropractic marketing webinar that we did here recently. It was a great webinar. We had well over 300 people register for it. It was fantastic information. It did last right at an hour, so this will be a longer episode than normal. But good thing about a podcast is you can listen to it at your leisure. So if you're listening to the audio version of this, you'll still be able to gain some information, but I definitely encourage you to check out the video version, which you can find on YouTube. Just search Chiro Candy Podcast or just Chiro Candy, and you should be able to find our channel, and it's listed under the podcast section. So without further ado, let's get on over into this webinar.
You're listening to Chiro Candy, the podcast of sweet chiropractic success. Now, here's your host, Billy Sticker.
All right. Glad you guys are joining us. We had a lot of people. We're going to wait just a few minutes before we get started. I know we're right at the top of the hour. We had just over 320, give or take, register for the webinar. So this is a big deal. You'll probably hear me say this several times throughout the presentation. I really believe that AI right now is where Facebook was 10 years ago. You know, there's a couple of people here and there that might be using it in office, but it's not, it's not something that everybody's doing. But now most people are using Facebook and Instagram and social media, things like that. Excuse me. So I'm got a lot of great information, and I do want to start off by saying this. AI is a big world. There's a lot of things out there, a lot of things that we could be talking about. I'm focused on things that you're going to be able to do right now to help grow your practice. You know, for marketing, from a marketing standpoint, what are some tools that you can use to create content and then actually help convert these potential new patients into new patients, getting them not just scheduled, but making sure they show up for appointments, and then you guys take it from there. So that's what this webinar is really going to be focused on, is going to be more of that. So if you can, let me let these people it's in the waiting room here. We got a bunch. Give me a second here. Excuse me. So that's what this is going to be focused on, is, what are the tools that we can use for actually growing your practice. So I'm not going to be talking about a lot of other things you could be doing. Somebody posted the other day saying how chiropractors need to be careful using AI for HIPAA things. I totally understand. Everything we're going to be talking about today is totally HIPAA compliant. What you want to be careful for is like uploading your database straight to ChatGPT and having them run some kind of, like if you were doing something like that, I know it's possible for you to upload a database and when their last visits were and how often they came in and, price per visit, things like that. Yes, that's something that you could do, but I think that's where this guy was talking about HIPAA issues. So you want to be careful with that. Definitely don't want to do that. So let's get these people in. There's a bunch of information here, and I am going to do my best to be very concise. We are recording this. If you want to take notes, you can take notes. I recommend maybe just taking your phone and screenshotting a couple of things here and there. And I'll point out some important things that you may want to do a screen grab of. But we will also be sending out the replay. So if there's something you miss, don't stress about it. So, because we will get you a replay out. All right. So let's get going. All right. A little bit about who we are. If you're not familiar with me or Chiro Candy, my name is Billy Sticker. Back in 2007 and 2008, I worked for a chiropractor in Southeast Texas, had multiple locations. It was Pro Chiropractic and Wellness. We had an office in Beaumont, an office in Port Arthur. I was the marketer. Excuse me. I did all of the screenings out in the community. I would do our workshops in the community. I did our in-office talks. Then I started doing our day ones and our day twos and closing patients on care plans. I really just fell in love with the profession. Actually, in 2008, I started a podcast for chiropractors. It was actually called Chiropractic Marketing University. Horrible name for a podcast, but started it back in 2008. Was the very first marketing podcast for chiropractors. In 2015, we rebranded to the Chiro Candy Podcast, we really just started as a as a marketing podcast. We had doubled the volume in both offices that I was working with, and I just wanted to help chiropractors think like marketers. And so we still, a new episode of the podcast came out this morning, so you can get that on, Spotify or Apple iTunes, just wherever you get your podcast. We've worked with right around 2,000 offices, got offices all over the world, and because of the work we've done here at Chiro Candy, almost 200,000 patients, roughly 200,000 patients a month walk through the doors of a chiropractic office. So we're not talking about leads, we're talking about people that actually walk through the doors of a chiropractic office. Now, I've written several books. I've written, I think, a total of 7 books, but here's some of the more, popular books I have. One called Blessed Entrepreneur, which has nothing at all to do with chiropractic. It's a little bit about our story, but it's more kind of a faith-based business book. Tribe of Patience is one that I wrote several years ago that we're going to be talking about that strategy. We're going to be talking about that strategy here in a minute. And then I have AI-powered chiropractic marketing, which is actually the name of this webinar. Came out just last week. We have not promoted that at all. You guys are the first people to actually really know about it, but it is available on Amazon and stuff right now too. So this is our team. We're spread out all over the state of Texas. We are, which you can't really see that because I'm in the way, but we're an Inc. 5000 company, for the past several years. And our team, we all drink the Kool-Aid. We love what it is we do. And so, all right, Ben, if you can, make sure, you're keeping an eye on the waiting room, because I know I'm seeing some more on there. So the agenda for today, we are going to be talking about just the opportunity that we have. We're going to be talking about content. That's a great thing that we can use AI for, is actually producing content, not just blog posts and things like that, or emails. I think a lot of people are using, Chat GPT for that, but I'm going to show you some really cool strategies. We're going to talk about some tools that you can use for, for AI. And I'm sorry, not for AI, for videos. And then these are some things that you want to take a picture of, which I'll show you these more in a second. And then we're going to talk about conversions. I'm going to introduce you to what we're calling your AI CA that actually will qualify leads, nurture the leads, get them to book appointments. It's going to be some really great information. So meeting rules, I want you to have an open mind. It's funny, our sales team, one of our guys, Michael, told me that he was talking to somebody just the other day and mentioned that we've been testing out AI for some clients. And this guy freaked out. He's like, absolutely not. I don't want anything to do with it. I think it talks about AI in the book of Revelation. I don't think he actually said that. I think I just added that part on there. But have an open mind, right? Be present. I know you guys are busy. I really honor and want to respect your time, but I do ask you to try to be present, to really pay attention. And if this is something that you can see would benefit your practice, I want to encourage you to be one of the first adapters or adopters to using this. Excuse me. AI should support, not replace. So if any of you on here are CAs right now or your team members, I wouldn't be nervous. Like, the goal of the tools we're going to show you is to make your life easier, right? We want to make you shine in your office, and your boss or your doctor would be like, "Oh my goodness, you're amazing." And you're amazing because we're going to show you some really cool tools that you can be doing, all right? So don't stress about being replaced. If you're familiar with marketing, if you've been around business at all, back in the 1890s, this man came up with this formula, it's AIDA. And it's very, very popular in the marketing and advertising world, and it stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. And that's what we want to do when we're marketing, let's say social media. We want to stop the scroll. We want to get their attention. For example, we tell chiropractors all the time, use props. Have the spine in your hand, or, if you're doing knee pain, do something, where you're focusing in on the knee. You want to do something that's not normal. I'm so sorry for coughing. I've had some allergies that I'm trying to get rid of, and I'm going to get adjusted after the meeting. So attention, we want to grab their attention. We want to create interest. We want to turn that interest into desire, and then we want to build, or we want them to take some kind of action, right? So interest, or attention, interest, desire, and action. This is great. I actually preached a message I guess it was back in the spring at our church, and I talked about this formula, about how this is how God wants to work too, right? He tries to get our attention, create interest. He wants to create this desire and get us to take action. But anyway, that's a totally different, that's a different webinar we can go down one day. But now AIDA means we actually get to use the AI for something different, right? We get to use the artificial intelligence. So our Perfect Patient Tribe Turbine, this is a great overview of what we call our Perfect Patient Tribe Turbine. The book, Tribe of Patients, that I wrote, really dives deep into this process. And the goal here is we want you guys doing videos, right? So you do video number 1, video number 2, video number 3. Ideally, these are videos, 2 different types, and we don't have time to go really deep into this. One of our, probably the past 7 or 8 episodes of our podcast, we do a really deep dive on this process. But you guys are doing videos. We're taking those videos, we're building a retargeting audience. We get to tell Facebook and Instagram, hey, people who interact with our videos, I want to build a retargeting audience. Then that retargeting audience, we show them an offer. And so now people are not saying yes to the offer, they're saying yes to you, because they start to know, like, and trust you. They know what you do, how you do it, why you do it. And it just produces a much higher quality of new patient that responds to social media then. But with this, there's still 2 problems that we see. Sometimes we still have doctors say, hey, the lead quality is poor. And if you've done a lot of the stuff on marketing on social media, you've probably said the same thing before. Oh, these leads suck. Well, there's a couple of reasons we see that happening. So we're going to dive into that here in a second. And then another problem that we see is not everyone likes to make videos. I get it. You're busy. Some of you, one of my chiropractors before we moved here to the North Houston area, fantastic chiropractor. I've been adjusted by many chiropractors out there, and he's still probably the best. He's Dr. Brad Walker in Lumberton, Texas. Just phenomenal. And great with his patients. But you turn on the video camera, and he just kind of gets stoved up. And a lot of people are like that. Let me tell you a little hint. One of the reasons you're like that is, if you're like that, it's because you're afraid to be judged by other people in your community. A lot of other healthcare professionals, whether that's the medical community or other chiropractors. The reason we get nervous is we feel like we're going to be judged by our peers. So we talk more about that and some other stuff, just kind of overcoming the mindset on that. But not everybody wants to make videos. So let's get into how we can use AI to help with these things. So when it comes to poor lead quality, if you're having poor leads, it's typically because they're saying yes to the offer and they're not saying yes to you. We want to develop a strategy where people are saying yes to you, not the offer, right? That's going to be a much higher quality person. And then also speed to lead. How faster is your team replying and responding to people that are raising their hand saying they want to come in for an appointment? The quicker they can respond, the higher chance of success that you're going to get those people in. So speed to lead is unbelievably important. So let's go over just some content strategies. When it comes to marketing, content is one of the key pieces. We want to be able to get content out in the community, and that's kind of the bait, right? We want to create these different audiences, or if you will, we want to dig these different ponds and tell social media what fish to put in each pond. The content is kind of the bait that we use to, one, fill the ponds, but also to go fishing to get people to respond to come in. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, these are some tools that we're going to be going over. Answer the public is one. Wait just a second. So if you're going to grab that with your phone or whatever, like I said, we'll also be sending this out. Answer the public is one that I've talked about several times. As a matter of fact, I think the first time I talked about it on a webinar was probably 3 years ago. But answer the public, totally free. And what you want to do is you would go in there, and let's say that you're doing chiropractic, or some of our offices are doing neuropathy or knee pain or shoulder pain, or they're doing functional medicine or weight loss. Whatever you want, type it in here. We just have an example of chiropractic. And then what this is going to do is it's going to show you what people are searching for. I know you're going to have a hard time seeing this, so you can just go to Answer the Public and do this yourself. But it actually shows this in all of these different questions. So you can either look at it like that, or you can actually have it, instead of the wheel, you can have it sort this in a table. Well, all of these are content ideas that you could do a video on, that you could do a blog post on, or whatever it may be. So once you have this, take some of them, get some ideas on what you'd want to do content on, and then you can either use ChatGPT or Claude. Most people are familiar with ChatGPT. The more I've been using both, personally, I lean towards Claude for things like this. They will both do very, very similar things. One of the things I like about Claude is when you ask it to do something, it's almost like it takes a step back and it understands why you're asking it to do what it is you're doing. So I'm not going to go too deep into that. I just encourage you, if you've been using ChatGPT, play around with Claude some also. But you can take this list, upload it to either one of these platforms, and you can ask it to produce 60-second video scripts on each topic. And it'll produce a video script on all of these topics. You can ask it to do a blog post on any of these topics. You can ask it to do tips or maybe quotes for a certain thing. Let me show you this. So I went to Claude and I asked it. I didn't upload any of that, which that is something you could do. I went in and said, here is what I said. Please create a list of 30 tips for spine health, exercises, and overall wellness. These will eventually be used for social media posts. So it actually spit all these out. Then I went back and said, hey, will you go ahead and give me these in a CSV file? So I kind of worked with it a little bit, but I wanted a CSV file with two different areas. I wanted the actual tips, and then I wanted the here, let me actually show you what we came up with. Okay, you guys should be able to see this on here. I wanted can you add these into a CSV file that I can download with one with the tips. Oh, I was supposed to say column. I didn't even say column. And it still knew what I was talking about. One with the tips, the other with the explanation. So it did. It was able to do a CSV file. Then what you can do is you can go over to Canva. Now, when you hop into Canva, you can look up, what I did is I clicked on the social media option, and we're going to look up, let's do quotes. Quotes for Facebook. I'm kind of looking at these different sizes and stuff that are on here. These are for stories. This is for cover. Let's see. Cover. Let's do this one for stories. So this is pulling up. Then what I can do now is I can go through here and really pick pick any of these. Let's do this one right here. All right, so I can take this design and do whatever I want with it. I can actually change out this background. Let's say I want a background of, let me just say chiropractor. Let's see what comes up. Not crazy about this, but let's just do this one. Okay, so we're going to do that. I'm going to make sure that layer is on the back. Okay, I just can't even see these now. Let's make this bigger. I want this bigger also. Okay, for sake of time, we're just going to kind of leave that there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go down here on the side and I'm going to go to bulk create. Now, if you don't show bulk create right here, what you can do is you go to the apps and then you just search bulk create, but I already have it on mine. And I don't know if I have this downloaded on here. Download, oh, I actually do. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna change this. So all I'm gonna do is take the CSV file. So I'm gonna take the CSV file and upload it. So I'm gonna upload data. Here's the CSV file. I'm gonna upload it. See, connect your data to elements. Okay, so right here, if I right click, I'm gonna go connect data, and I want this to be the explanation. And I'm gonna right click down here, connect data, and I want this to be the tips. I'm gonna hit continue. It took everything that was in that spreadsheet and I pushed generate. And now it actually produced all of these using all of that content. Now there's 30 on here. Granted, you could make this look different and you don't want to do all your posts that look the exact same. But what if this is, you do one for Mondays, another one for Wednesdays, another one for Fridays, and you have them booked out for the whole year, right? And there's content that took 20 to 30 minutes total, which used to take somebody, 20 to 30 minutes a day per post, right? It used to take a lot of time. So this is just one way that you can use AI for to help generate content. Okay, so that would be more social media post. If you found that valuable, just put like a 1 in the chat. Because I think that right there, you show your team how to do that, and like that's tons and tons of content you could do, even if you just did it, for the month, and then change them out. Like that's so easy to produce content, and you're using AI and Canva to get that done. So this is one that I did when I was preparing for this. This was the design that I came up with. And you could do these for stories or just regular Instagram posts, whatever you wanted. So now let's look at AI video. With AI video, there are tons of different tools out there. And these are some that we're playing around with right now that are very, very impressive. And you may even know some and you're thinking, Billy, what about Railway and like some of these other ones? There's a lot of them out there. But these are some that we're actually working with. And I do want to show you an example. This is not an example from me. This is actually an example from a good friend of mine who has an agency who helps people with videos. And this one is going to be this ARC ads, which is this one down here. I want to show you what he did. Now, this is all AI. This is a buddy of mine named Austin. He has an agency for attorneys. He just works with attorneys, and this was used. They used ARC-ads to make this video, and once again, it's 100% AI. So I want to make sure that you can hear this. So watch this.
Chasing leads is dead. It's 2024, and what worked last year does not work today. There's a better way to grow your law firm without chasing leads. NetFly's Law Firm Acceleration Program brings high-value clients straight to your law firm. No more wasted time on bad leads, just steady growth with the right clients. This is attorney Dan Desario, and this is what he had to say about working with NetFly.
My business has increased between 25 and 33%. And that includes clients, client retention. I've noticed an appreciable difference in income. I've noticed an appreciable difference in the amount of clients. I plan to stay with them until I retire or die. Hopefully both are far off in the future.
Our lawyers don't do consultations anymore. They don't do anything. They just get signed cases. Chasing leads is dead. It's time to focus on growth. Schedule your discovery call today with NetFly by clicking the Learn More button below.
You got to admit, that is pretty impressive. That was all AI generated. It's pretty impressive. So these tools that we were just talking about, what they allow you to do is you can use Claude or ChatGPT to give you a script. And then you take that script, and once you have avatars built out using these tools, that's what they did here. They uploaded the script, and then the AI ARC-ads built that using Austin, which is the owner of that company, that marketing company, NetFly. It used him as the avatar in there. You can use all kinds of different avatars, but this was put together by a friend of mine named Jamie. He's actually a friend of mine in Austin's, who owns Intergage Videos, and he sent that to me this morning. I told him what I was doing, and he knows that I'm trying to learn ARC-ads. And he's actually helping us out. And he's like, hey, here's a great one we just finished today that you can use. So very, very impressive. Let me show you. Let's see if I can go to the next slide. Okay. Here is in video. Now, this is one that I think is a lot easier for you to use. We're actually using this one. Let me show you what we put together. I demoed this specifically for this presentation. And what I did is I went to Claude and I told them that we are launching this AI chatbot for chiropractors. And we call it your AI CA. And it wrote out a script. I said, give me a 45 to 60 second script. And it gave me several different ones. And I took one of them, uploaded it to InVideo, and InVideo built all of this out automatically. They took the script, did the voiceover, everything. So let's take a look at what they did. Then I'll show you some changes I made and how I made these changes.
It's 3:14 a.m. Sarah's back pain just hit hard. She needs a chiropractor now. She messages 5 chiropractic offices. At 4 of them, her message sits unread until morning. But at your office, something different happens. Your AICA responds instantly. Hi, Sarah. I'm sorry you're in pain. I can help you get scheduled right away. We have an opening at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Would that work for you? While you sleep, your AICA is consulting with patients, answering questions, and filling tomorrow's schedule. So when you arrive at 9 a.m., your day is already booked with patients who needed you at 3 a.m. Stop losing patients after hours. Get your AICA for just $297 per month, or receive it free with our Facebook and Instagram ads package.
Pretty impressive. Now, the original things that they had put in there, some of the original stock images I didn't like. I think one of them actually had a bunch of pills in the background, which I knew you guys would love that, right? So what I did is I uploaded some of our clients, just some, I say stock, it's not necessarily stock, it's just some B-roll from their offices. And I uploaded those here, and then I just put them in some different places that I wanted, that I wanted to change this. But you can edit the script, you can edit the B-roll and stuff that's on here, all of that. And this tool, like I said, once again, is in video. So, we can go back to there. Yeah, INVIDEO .ai. So that's another tool that we're beginning to test out for some clients right now. Really, really cool stuff. So you have the content, you have videos, different ways to make videos. Now let's talk about just basic strategy. At Chiro Candy, we have something we call our perfect patient tribe turbine. I went over it just a minute ago, kind of showed you the basics of it, how we want you guys doing videos that we can build a retargeting audience, and then we show the retargeting audience an offer after we start building trust, and it just produces a higher level, a higher quality of patient, because now they're saying yes to you, not some discounted offer. So this is what we call our perfect patient tribe turbine. And there's 3 different stages. The first stage, whenever somebody first signs up with us, is what we call the ignition stage. This is onboarding, the initial campaigns get launched. We start the video content. We train your AICA, which we're going to talk more about that in a second. We make sure the audience pixels set up, on your website for Facebook and Instagram. You have access to our training portal, which we're redoing all of that right now. But this is like all the first 30 days. Then you're doing ideally weekly content videos. So we're getting to build that audience bigger, right? We're really trying to work on digging that pond and filling it full of the right fish. Trust cultivation is kind of one of the key priorities here. We're building authority in your community with all these videos. And then whenever we have it on full flow, this is just like now, it's just kind of autopilot. You're still doing some content, but we're retargeting such a big group of very warm leads compared to just cold people out in your community, and it produces a much, much higher quality of patient. So in this, our goal for these retargeting audiences, your video views audience, the first 90 days, we want to have a goal of 5,000 people in that audience. So think about that. That's 5,000 people in your community that have watched a certain percentage of your videos. And the more videos that you're doing, then they get to see you over and over and over and over again. And 5,000 people, what if you only marketed to those 5,000 people the rest of your career? Like, there's a good chance, if you're really good at converting these people and then getting them to send in referrals and the rest of their family, like, how many more people do you need in your audience? Well, what if, in 6 months, our goal is 10,000 people in that audience. Now, we've seen people build a 10,000 video views audience in 90 days. It does happen. But these are people that are really staying on top of doing really quality videos. But this is our goal. And then a year out, 365 days out, excuse me, our goal is 20,000 people in that audience. Now we can only build, Facebook only tracks video views for the past 365 days. So if somebody watched a video, they're only going to see your other stuff for the next year until they engage with another video, and then that kind of restarts, if that makes sense. So it's very possible that after a year, we could grow this audience size to 30 and 40,000 people that have been watching your videos. Now, that's our goal, is to build that kind of a pond, build that kind of authority in your market. So now we go fishing in that pond, right? So going back to lead quality. So we're talking about our process. We just went over that. Lead quality. When it comes to converting these leads to patients, speed to lead is incredibly important. Right here we talk about, or here's a stat, 391% higher conversions if you respond to that lead in the first 60 to 90 seconds. Well, the issue is your team is busy. And even if we're sending notifications, hey, a lead just came in, we actually have the option that when a lead comes in, it's called Call Whisper. Our program will call your office, your team answers, and it just says, it's basically kind of like AI. It's not necessarily AI, it's just this program that says, John, a new lead just came in from Facebook, press 1 to connect. And then your team would press 1, and then it calls him. So there is a, excuse me, there is a way to speed that up. But even still, your team, you may not be using that. Your team might be busy doing other things. And they tend to not follow up quickly. Well, the longer you wait, guess what? They're going to start seeing other people's ads. They're going to end up going somewhere else. The lead quality dramatically diminishes the longer you wait. There was another study I saw that you're 100 times more likely to even connect with that lead if you do it in under 5 minutes. And so when your team's saying, hey, these people aren't answering, they're not doing this, they're not doing that, it's typically because they're not following up fast enough. And what about after hours? What about like that 3 a.m. video? When people are responding then, what happens? What about on the weekends? That is where your very own AICA comes in handy, right? Excuse me, your very own AI chiropractic assistant. That they will actually follow up immediately with the lead. They work 24/7, 365. They're professionally trained. They get better with age. Think about this. Think about any team member. If you have a new team member and you hear them on the phone and the way they answer a question, you're like, oh, you know what? Next time say it like this, right? It's almost the same thing, right? We have it trained, and we're going to go through some examples, and we're going to even let you guys ask some questions, and we can put in there to show you how it works. But even with a new team member, you may be like, hey, if they ask that question again, next time answer it like this. Well, you get to do the exact same thing with your AICA. And what's great about this is, unlike your team member, the AICA is never going to forget. Anytime that question comes up again, it knows this is exactly how you answer it. So, okay, I'm getting these notifications on here. People are asking things. So we will try, if we have time, we'll try to do some Q&As at the end. If we don't have time, I'm going to show you what you can do to get all your questions answered. We're going to use our AI to help answer your questions at the end of this. But your AICA gets better with age, because the more and more you get to train it, the more and more it's going to learn exactly what it needs to be doing to work the best for your office. It's fantastic. It's focused because this is its one job. It's not doing other things like your team, right? It's only working on all these leads. And it costs pennies compared to what it does to pay a team member, right? There's no benefits, no sick time. You don't have to worry about any of that. So here's some examples of an AICA in action. So this one was following up with a lead. Let me see, how do I even pause this? Let's back this up. We're not going to read this whole thing. I don't even know if it's going to let me back it up. Oh, it skipped to the next one. Okay. Would you like to come in? Yes. Let me pause this. Awesome, Latanya. I'm glad to I had this blocking because I realized the patient's last name was on here, and we don't need that, do we? I'm glad to connect with you. Could you share a bit about what specific issues you're having? So the green is the AICA, and then the other is actually the potential new patient. And you can see it says SMS. So it'll show you on here what is, how it's responding. And you actually get on the ChiroCandy app, your team will be able to see all this happening live. And as it's happening, if you or your team want to jump in and start responding, it pauses the AI. So your team could take over at any time. Let's see, low back pain, blah, blah, blah. She goes on to say, I was told x-rays are showing nothing. I understand that can be frustrating. Chiropractic care often helps with pain, even when imaging doesn't show clear issues. So it just goes on and on. And then it actually does book an appointment. I want to show you this one. This one's really cool because With this one, he talks about having some issues. The AI goes back and forth. And then whenever he requests a specific time, the AI knows that time wasn't available. And so it actually goes back and forth with him. You know what? I'm not even sharing my screen. I'm so sorry. This is what you guys should have been seeing. I apologize. But this is the AI responding. And this it shows SMS. I'm going to show you another one here in a second. Well, tomorrow at 11, unfortunately, we don't have that available. I could probably do 10. And they just kind of go back and forth. 3 p.m. and look at there, appointment details updated. So the AI actually did everything, negotiated, if you will, the best time and date, and then got him booked for that appointment. Here was one that was just from Chiro Candy, because we use this with us also. Someone sent a message on Instagram. You can see on here, it says, Instagram. And so what happened is he just says, hey, I want to inquire. I'm a chiropractor in business for about 4 months, looking to work on more marketing. What are your fees for your services? So it goes on to say that, our prices are anywhere between $350 and $795, depending on specific services. We should definitely hop on a call to discuss. So it's trained to answer questions and then guide them to book a call. Not just answer questions. It always comes back to getting them to book the appointment. Would you like to schedule a discovery call? Yes, please. Awesome. And then it goes back and forth and they pick out the time, and then you can see here appointment details. Like the AI did all of this. And it was so cool because Ben on our team, he and I were actually messaging back and forth, just watching it, because this was one of the first times that we had a message from Instagram come in. And so we were wondering how well it was going to work. And it worked perfect. Like, it's just so cool. Here, if you want to demo this, you want to take a picture of this, it's just chirocandy.com/AI demo. You can go, there's 2 different ways you can demo it. You can either do the chat and you fill out information and it'll do it there. Or there's an option on here where you can actually put in your information. It'll scrape your website and build your own AICA and allow you to test it out right there. So if you want to dig into this a little bit deeper, but your AICA, we give it a personality. Now, depending on your office, we want it to match the culture of your office. If you want it to be more personal and friendly, then we can set it to be more personal. If you want it to be more professional, we can have it be more professional, right? Imagine being able to do that with your team. You actually say, you know what? I'm totally going to mold your personality. We get to do that with your AICA. We give it a knowledge base, which is typically just like a frequently asked questions. It can even scrape your website like I talked about, but we found it works better if we just have a handful of specific questions that are your most commonly asked questions. We train it on that, but it's easily trained. Like I said a while ago, you have the Chiro Candy app, and then I already talked about some of this. The AI pauses if you guys, you or your team just wanted to hop in and continuing answering the question, the AI will stop then. So this is one of our clients. They've been with us for almost 7 years. And this was one of the first offices we started testing out the AICA on. And she sent Andrew on our team. He handles their account. Since we know the bot is performing well, can we move forward on the retargeting campaign for the 2023 and older leads? And what's the estimated time frame? So this is more of what you would call like a reactivation campaign. And so what we're doing for them is we're not only doing a reactivation campaign on inactive patients, we're doing a reactivation campaign on inactive leads. And their team doesn't have to do anything. The AI does everything, right? Let me kind of show you what this looks like. So typically we call this a Lazarus campaign, all right? Lazarus, just like in the Bible. because we're bringing these old leads, we're raising them from the dead. So doing a Lazarus campaign, this would be a sample of the first text that would go out to the database. It's Haley from Chiro Candy Chiropractic here. Is this first name? So let's pull this up. And this is just an area for us to play around with on this here. And if you guys want to put stuff in the chat on what you would like me, how you would like me to respond, we'll pick a few of those. Being if you want here in a second, give me a couple, and then we'll test it out like that. Because I think right now I've got about 100 people on the call. So, is this first name? I'm going to say yes. And then the response. Thank goodness, I have a few vouchers for a discounted re-exam and adjustment for only $47. Would you like me to set one aside for you? Okay, typically it would be a yes or no, but let's say, I just got this text out of the blue. I don't even remember. You know what? I'm going to say maybe. Maybe. I really can spell. What's the catch? Now, this is responding immediately. Whenever we actually have it trained and it's inside of the workflow, it's actually timed out to wait a little bit longer. So it's not going to be quite this immediate. Excuse me. There's no catch, I assure you. We simply want to offer a discounted re-exam and adjustment as a way for you to experience our chiropractic services. It's a great opportunity to see if chiropractic care can help with any issues you may have. Would you like me to set one aside for you? I'm going to say yes. We're going to see what happens. Great. When would you like to come in for an appointment? You have an availability tomorrow, which I didn't even spell it right. Unfortunately, we don't have availability tomorrow. Our current openings for next week. Okay, now we would actually have it connected to your calendar. It would know exactly what's available. I heard chiropractic is a scam. Should I put this in here? Are y'all scared? Or we have no idea what it's going to say. Let's see what happens here. I understand your concern, but chiropractic care is actually a recognized and regulated healthcare profession. It focuses on diagnosing and treating conditions related to the musculoskeletal system, especially the spine. Many people have found relief in various issues. That's not a bad answer. It's pretty good. But let me show you what you would do if you wanted to actually train this on your own. So inside of the Chiro Candy app, what you would do is you would click on one of your contacts, just any contact. And whenever you do, let me close this. There's this little button that, well, you can't see with my head in the way. This little AI chat feature right here. You would click this and then give it a second to load. And then it pulls up some of the frequently asked questions that we already have in here. And then you could actually kind of start a conversation with it to see how it would respond. Now, this one, I'm actually in our Chiro Candy marketing account. So I'm going to put in here, let me ask it a question. Let's see. How much are your services? So how much are your services? So this is what you would be able to do to kind of help train yours. You would give it a specific question. Maybe it's already had, and then we'll wait and see how it responds. All right. It's pretty cool that it knows that we do offer some services, because $350 used to be our base price on some of our services, but now it's $297. I don't even know how it got updated, but it got updated. I actually like the way it answered this. If I did want to change it for whatever reason, let's say that our prices were higher than that, I could put on here $797 and and $17.97, and then I can add it. I'm not going to add it because then it would actually remember that from here on out until I deleted it. But that's how easy it is to change, to actually go in here and change how it answered that particular question. So that's how easy it is for your team, your team, to train it. So it's really, really cool. Hopefully you can see, I can spend a lot of time going down this rabbit hole, but I think you kind of get the idea. All right. So your AICA works with meta ads, Google, Facebook, and Instagram messages. You can also have it work with comments. If somebody commented on Facebook or commented on Instagram, it'll actually respond to those comments. Personally, I don't like that feature because what it's going to do is it's going to add all of those people to your database, to your like contact list, but yet there's no email, no phone number. You really can't do anything with them. So, and let's say it does make a mistake, just like your team. If your team was to make a mistake and say the wrong thing to a person on the phone, it only said that to that one person. If you have your AICA say something on a Facebook comment and it's not correct, or maybe it's correct, but it's not exactly how you would have said it, now they said it for everybody. So personally, I'm not big on using the comment feature, but I do like it to respond to messages. It'll do web chats, it does SMS, it can do WhatsApp. We're working with some, people in other countries, or some doctors in other countries. And WhatsApp is a lot more popular in other countries than it is here in the States, but even more. So it's just phenomenal. And at Chiro Candy, this is kind of a continuation of our Perfect Patient Drive Turbine. Our goal is to take a patient out in the community. We want to virtually go out, grab their hand, take them down this journey, and get them as absolutely close to you, basically put their hand in your hand for them to accept care. We want to get them as close to you, as primed and ready as possible. All right? It's not just getting leads and then saying, okay, guys, it's up to you now. But we really want to take them as far along this journey as we can. And so here's what that typically looks like. We do those awareness and educational videos. We retarget that audience with more videos. As we're retargeting that audience, then we retarget that audience with a new patient offer. They respond and sign up. Your AICA captures that lead, nurtures that lead, gets them to book an appointment. This is one thing we're really trying to get a lot of our offices to do now, and it's a pre-appointment content. If you've heard me speak before, I shared the story about being diagnosed in 2013 with a Chiari-1 malformation. Asymptomatic, got in a head-on collision. This guy was strung out on drugs and going the wrong way on the highway. But after the accident, I started having some issues. Went to chiropractor, went to the neurologist, went to a neurosurgeon, ended up having to have surgery. But the neurosurgeon I went to was down in Houston, and he required that I watch a webinar before the appointment. As a marketer, I thought that was fantastic. I was really pretty excited. I was like, what? This is a neurosurgeon, and he requires that I watch some kind of pre-appointment content before I come in. This is fantastic. And so I did, and it just really helped answer a lot of the questions. So when I came in, it was so much easier to just take his recommendations on what it is he wanted to do. We've had other offices. We have this one in particular doing some weight loss campaigns with us. And they have some pre-appointment content that's going out that's dramatically improving their show rate and just their close rate because of this pre-appointment content, right? A lot of times your patients don't get educated till day 1 and day 2. With our process, they start getting educated up here, right? We continue that education all the way until they come in. So can you see how that's a much higher quality patient coming in? Another one of our offices, excuse me, they were doing functional medicine. stuff, thyroid, things like that. And we were generating great leads for him. And he said, you know what? You guys are doing your job. You're generating leads. We're just having a hard time getting them in. And then we came up with a strategy, and they sat down and recorded an interview, him and his business partner. And they recorded like a podcast style interview talking about problems with thyroid, what happens with traditional in the medical community, and then what they do in their office to help treat this. And then what they started doing is once a lead came in, they would simply send them this pre-appointment content, and it dramatically increased not only their show rate, but their close rate, right? Because it just got more people in. So we definitely encourage, even if you're not working with us, this is something that you should implement. A lot of times you've got a video that you're showing them, maybe on their day 2. What if you had some type of work, one of the workshops you do, like a dinner talk, what if you could kind of scale that down a little bit, or even if it's not scaled down, but you had it set up to where that was something they watched on a video before they came in, right? You get them pre-sold before they ever even show up. So that's really what we want to do at Chiro Candy. We want to get them as close to you as possible before they come in. And we use AI to do that. So, excuse me, if you want to get your own AICA, we are looking for 20 offices to start this program. Now, we're working with a lot of doctors already, and we've been testing it on theirs, and it's doing extremely well. This is a beta program. It's not 100% perfect right now, but it's really, really good. There's going to be a few issues here and there, just like when you hire somebody new. They're going to have a few issues with a team member, but once we get it trained, the issues go away, right? They go away forever. But prices on this are going to start at $297 a month, plus the build out. We had 320 people register for the webinar, and we will be sending the replays out to everybody as soon as, Zoom has everything processed. So let's see there. Yeah, so that's it. All you would have to do, I paused for a second because I was like, wait, did I even record this? But it is recorded. chirocandy.com/AICA if you're interested. That's going to get you on a call with our team. They're going to walk you through what this looks like. Look, this is something eventually you're going to be doing in your office. You are going to have this set up, whether you have it set up right now or you wait and you don't do it, for another 3 to 5 years. I promise you, this is something you're going to see everybody across the board eventually start using. I even think we're going to start seeing more and more people using voice AICAs. I say AICAs, voice AIs. We have that capability now. I've actually even tested it out. It works with our software. We have the capability to where a lead comes in, we can have AI call them and get them to schedule. I don't recommend it yet. One, I don't think most of you doctors aren't ready for it. I don't know if the general public is ready for that yet, but it's coming. There's going to come a time whenever they're just kind of used to it and they're okay with it. It's going to be more socially acceptable. And then we're already going to be ready. We already have everything in place to start doing that now. So when are you going to get on board, right? I encourage you, go to chirocandy.com/AICA, and Ben should have put the link in the chat. So you can just click that. The build out is going to depend on what all we're doing. On the high end, it may be as much, just only $1,000, but it could be less than that. If you're one of our clients already, then it's actually included with what we're doing. So anyway, there's kind of a range there depending on what all we need to do to build it out. But good question. If you have any other questions, we've been doing this right at an hour. My goal was to finish before an hour. My goal was to be about 45 minutes. You can go to chirocandy.com, the AI demo. So if you want, Ben, you can put instead of that link, you can also put the demo link in there, or even just chirocandy.com. and you can ask the chat. Just get in there and ask the chat. You can ask it questions, and we'll be able to monitor the questions too. So even if it's not answering it perfectly, I can hop in there and answer it, or you can just hop on the call with one of our team. So thank you so much. We have been going right at an hour. If you have anything, need any questions, feel free to reach out. You can also grab a copy of this book, AI-powered chiropractic marketing. It's only like $10, and it should be free shipping if you have a Prime account on Amazon. Definitely not trying to get rich from it, but it goes into a lot of the stuff that we've already covered here. We talk about videos, but I don't talk about all the video tools like I did here on this. But thank you guys for your time, and we will also be sending out the replay link here probably within the next 45 minutes to an hour. We'll get the link sent out to everybody. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of the Chiro Candy Podcast. If you go to chirocandy.com/AI-CA, you can schedule a call with our team and see what it will look like for us to actually set up your own AICA for you in your practice. We can also demo it for you and let you try to break it, play around with it, and just really impress you with it, because it is definitely impressive and it's been working so incredibly well for so many of our offices. So go to chirocandy.com/AI-CA to get signed up. Thanks.